without further ado, for those of you that are new, on Tuesday nights, we typically have the creator of the MoveQuest platform come on and share the updates that she's able to share and communicate with us and answer questions that are pressing from the community. And as always, it's my distinct pleasure to introduce her and bring her forth so she can do just that. So, Miss Lynette Artin, I see you are here. How are you this evening, ma'am? And the floor is yours.
Good, I'm good. I can't complain. No, I'm doing really good. I'm excited about MoveQuest and where we're at 4 years of building, this project. And, as I've said many times, people have heard me say it, our main goal was to create a project that solves a problem. What is that? Here in the United States especially, and it's the case in many other countries as well. But we've all gotten where we lead a sedentary lifestyle, and obesity and being overweight are the precursors to most, if not all, of the chronic illness and disease. And because of a lot of things that are in our foods, because we sit more than we get out and move around, those, our bodies are not healthy like they used to be. And so I wanted to create a crypto project that would be something that every single person on the globe could do. And if you wake up, you're moving. Even if you have, physical handicaps, you're still in some form moving. You got physical therapy, even if it's a physical therapist who's moving you. If you're in a wheelchair, you're doing those wheelchair pushes with your arms. And if you are not physically challenged, there's absolutely no reason. I don't care if you're 16 years old or if you're 96 years old. You have to move to keep your body in motion and to maintain, a healthy life. And the more you move, the longer you're going to live. That was the first thing. So we did solve that problem. And we are different than your other Move to Earn projects because we encapsulate all 5 movement categories: your steps, the distance you travel with your steps, your workouts, your sleep, and the calories that you burn, because sleep is a very important part of the recovery process from your physical activity. And we incorporate that into a full 24-hour time frame. You're not just restricted to, 10, 15, 20-minute physical activity spurts like you are in some of the other Move to Earns. Then, on top of that, we have through NFT miners. They all have different mining powers. No two are alike. Those are also a token. And you use your device that you're already using. You're using your phone every day. Most of us have got fitness trackers that we wear on our wrist. I mean, Apple's getting paid for things you do on your phone. Google's getting paid for almost everything you do while you're awake and moving around. Even in your sleep, they're listening to your breathing patterns. They know everything you do. So they're making hundreds of billions of dollars over the course of years. Or probably even more than that. So why shouldn't you doing what you already do every day? MoveQuest makes you want to challenge yourself to do more physical activity. You are keeping track of the steps that you're taking in that 24 hours at whatever time frame you're awake. In that 24-hour time frame, you're looking at your watch, you're looking at your phone. How many steps did you get? Can you do more today than what you did yesterday? Can you do more tomorrow than what you did today? And all the while, you're mining the MoveQuest token. What makes our token very, very unique is that we have a self-sustaining ecosystem. No pre-sale, no allocation of tokens. I didn't go and give, all my family members lots of tokens, and, our project manager and our lead designer and team, our lead developer and team, I didn't give them a whole bunch of tokens. I didn't give them a single token, not one. Not our core team. Herschel, you're on the core team, did you get any free MoveQuest tokens? Nobody did. In the creator of the project, I didn't even get an allocation of tokens. I got to mine them or I have to buy them, just like everybody else. It keeps it a fair playing field. Then our project has got a self-sustaining ecosystem. We actually have utility backing this token, right? Before you can even get a miner, you got to use the MoveQuest token, okay? And you have to have that miner because you feed that physical activity that you're doing through that miner, and it's generating hashes that you are going to record to the blockchain, and that validates that proof of physical activity. We coined that term, POPA, proof of physical activity. You record that, to the blockchain. It validates that physical activity that you did in that 24-hour time frame, and you mine the amount of tokens, that proof of physical activity that you did based on the mining power of your NFT miner that you have. You claim those tokens to your wallet, and you continue to use them throughout the ecosystem. We're getting ready to introduce leasing, boosts, avatars, the gaming system. There's going to be a lot of use for these tokens. And I'm not going to go through the whole platform. Most of you who are here, you already know what it is. Every single time you engage within the ecosystem, it provides liquidity. There's an algorithm that manages how this all takes place, and based on transactions, based on the growth of the community, based on selling pressure, based on buying. When the community grows, they buy MoveQuest. Why do they buy MoveQuest? Because they are going to mint their miners. As that community increases, all of that daily activity, every time you submit that proof of physical activity, every time you claim your tokens, every time you deposit MoveQuest into the hatchery to incubate more miners, you buy the boost, every little thing you do within the ecosystem is generating liquidity. So we don't have a project that says, hey, you spend a ton of money and buy MoveQuest tokens at a really drastic discount so we can oversaturate the market and dilute that token's value before it even gets started so that we can go and build the project that we told you we want to build. Oh, and by the way, all those tokens for years and years. We might get done what we say we're going to do. Then those projects don't have utility that backs them, so it just becomes a big money game. And by the way, we also add the liquidity. So you go to the exchange, you take those tokens that you bought from us and you pair it to whatever token or coin we're going to pair it to, and you add it as liquidity. That way, all the tokens, I'm talking about other projects, not MoveQuest, all of them tokens that we allocated out for marketing and for this team and this friend and that friend and this investor and that investor, as soon as you pump that up, we're going to come in and we're going to sell all them tokens on you. And guess what? All you dummies that are holding all them extra tokens that aren't worth a dang dime, well, we don't really care because we just close shop and we're gone now. See you later. Okay, that's not MoveQuest. You engage in the community, you use the ecosystem, you get healthier every day that you're moving around, and that liquidity just keeps getting better and better and better. Well, MoveQuest has been doing a little bit of tree shaking. What does that mean? That means that all the weak hands that sell the tokens, they've been selling. They're in their glory, right? Because every day they can go and they can sell those tokens. But guess what they've done? They've stabilized that pool. And I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but today the algorithm called for a $130,000 deposit into the liquidity pool. It may go 5, 6, 7 days without adding liquidity. Why? Because the selling pressure might be too heavy. Maybe there wasn't enough engagement within the ecosystem to justify that liquidity. So if the selling pressure is really, really high, the ecosystem isn't going to just roll the liquidity in for no good reason. It waits and it builds it up so that it can stabilize that liquidity flow. And guess what that meant? It meant today, MoveQuest reached 17% away from being completely fluid. You guys know what a stable token is, right? USDT, 1 for 1, $1 to 1 USDT, right? We're 17% away from that stable token value, not dollar for $1. If we were to go fluid tonight, we would be stable at almost $6 a token, meaning that every single token that's in circulation being held by wallet, users holding that token, be able to cash it out at pretty much that market value, because that's what each token that's in circulation is valued at. I don't know how many of you are familiar with liquidity or study tokenomics or read light papers and white papers and then go in and do the math on the tokenomics. MoveQuest has only got 287,525 MoveQuest tokens in circulation. Since this token was listed in August, there's been 1,016,600 642 tokens have been in circulation. That's how powerful this ecosystem is. Because the users are only holding 287,525. That's it. Being 80% fluid in our what? How many days have we been listed? 229 as of the 14th, so 233 days. MoveQuest has been listed on the Avalanche blockchain. That's amazing. Well, we don't have $150 million in our liquidity pool. Or what is it? Stefan has 138 million. But they've got 3, if not 4 billion tokens in circulation. It's 2.7 billion, almost 3 billion. Oh, they got a $148 million liquidity pool, but they can't push past a nickel. We've got 287,525 MoveQuest tokens in circulation. And we've already seen the $125 days. And we'll go way over the $125 mark. Why? Because we have a predictable, self-sustaining ecosystem. We know how many tokens are in circulation. We know that only 2,500 tokens are being mined per day. We know that when we add another 10,000 people to the community, that will bump up to 5,000 a day in our first year. 7,200 a day can be released in our second year based on the size of the community. Very strong tokenomics, very strong liquidity pool. We have an amazing ecosystem, and our project is somewhat addictive, right? Because our retention rate is very high. We may only have almost 8,000 wallet holders, and we've got, that are holding our token. We've got about 4,000 every day that are submitting, even if the token market value, in their opinion, is low. But honestly, guys, when's the last time you went and looked at all the other move to earn projects? If you go compare MoveQuest to theirs, we are the badass on the block. Plain and simple. We're unbeatable. We are unstoppable. We will be higher than Bitcoin. Why? Well, it took Bitcoin 4 years to get where we are today. It didn't even take us a year. And we have a project that every single person who's alive can do and can benefit from. We actually solve a real world crisis, right? Sedentary lifestyles that are leading to unhealthy individuals who are being riddled with chronic illness and disease. And the more you move, the healthier you become. And our goal is to make you as rich as we can possibly make you. Now, we can lead you, right, to water. We can't make you drink it. I'm telling you, we're not offering you Kool-Aid here, okay? We're offering you the real deal. And we're super excited about that. Based on what we're seeing right now with the algorithm, we should have a fully fluid liquidity pool within the next 7 to 14 days. And I am going to be so excited to get on this next call and say, listen, we're like a stable token. We're completely fluid. And so we're headed in that direction very, very quickly. It's an amazing place to be. We are definitely setting precedents in this space, in the crypto space with this project. Let me just add to this, because this is an important part of this project, because, you'll hear a lot of people say, well, yeah, but if you don't have new people coming in, eventually it'll fizzle out. Well, see, our project doesn't rely on new people spending money to use our system, right? We give you that miner, and now you start engaging within the ecosystem. You're part of the community. Now you're part of that ecosystem that provides that liquidity. Project doesn't rely on that new sale. Project relies on an engaged community. And so the larger the community, the more stable the project. Those of you who become involved in the ecosystem. So we could, let's say we have 100,000 users in the community and not one person spent a single dime on a miner. It doesn't hurt the project. The project thrives on the size of the community and the engagement within the ecosystem. I just want to make that, I want people to understand how significant that is, because your other projects rely on that constant influx of new money. Otherwise, it cannot thrive and survive. We're completely decentralized. Everything is on chain. There's no person or entity or company who is managing your money. Everything you do, you're recording to the blockchain and you're in total control. So it's a really significant piece for people to understand that we need that engagement within the community. The bigger the community, the more the project thrives. So that's important for people to understand as well.
Perfect. And one thing, and I know you've done this in the past, but I really want to see over the next week or so if we could put out something that actually shows just an example what the value proposition of even that initial navigator could represent over the course of the next 24 to 36 months for someone that actually, got it, embraced it, submitted, mined with it, and submitted on a daily basis for 24 to 36 months, what that would actually look like for them.
Yeah, so let's do that for our next AMA. I'll put it together.
Yeah, and naturally, I would like to believe that if a person really was doing that during that time, they would realize that, wait a minute, whether it be out of pocket or out of profit, that they would want to, naturally have more mining power and enhance, all of that. But it's at its core level, what that actually would look like, because I tend to believe that if this project does what I'm believing it not only can do, but will do, that it would be relatively significant for, something for a little piece of someone's time.
Because I've already run these numbers before. I just can't remember right off the top of my head what they are, so I have to go find that spreadsheet. But I do know that if somebody was mining with just 8 navigators, and I cannot remember if it was 3 years or if it was 5 years, and I think I based it on 100,000 users, a person mining with 8 navigators, if they held on to that MoveQuest and they didn't sell it over the course of that 3 years, would become a millionaire. It was either 2 or 3 million that they would have made.
Gotcha. So
you don't need the Titans to become wealthy. The navigators will get you there. It just takes a little longer.
Gotcha. Okay.
But I will give you the factual numbers based on certain projections of community size.
Gotcha.
Because we already know based on the community engagement what the token can do. And so I'll base it off that, and then I'll share that. And I can even put it on a little image for people too, so we can pass that around as well.
Okay. And I'm not going to put you on the spot, but I know you like math. So I'm going to make your math a little bit harder. When you're doing that, let's make sure that we take into consideration, when we talk about the growth in numbers, we take into consideration the distribution of the tokens and how much they're getting progressively, because it'll go down as the numbers get larger. I want that raw number because I still believe that number is going to be significant enough to get people excited and make it a no-brainer.
Yeah, when I do the numbers, I do base it on the, because as more people come into the community, the mining difficulty increases. So when I do those numbers, I do run them as the amount that a person should be able to mine based on the amount of people that are mining, based on X amount of physical activity, based on the tokens that are being mined each day. But it also takes into account that as you're mining less, it means the token is worth more.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I do put all that is in those figures.
Okay. That sounds exciting to me. Those are things that, what do things look like for the average everyday person? Because I believe that's the lifeblood of a project like this, where you're able to help the average everyday individual. Not only can they get involved, they can see benefits from it if they actually engage and embrace what the project actually is. And there's ways to benefit all around from a financial and a physical perspective or what have you. And the education piece, I have to keep throwing that part in there because there's so much to learn, with this project, or there's so much that can be learned with this project as all of us are learning more and more about blockchain technology, cryptocurrency, Web3, and, how it's becoming more and more prevalent in our everyday lives. What have you. We want to be the pioneers that are at the forefront of all of that and are able to help our friends and our family and everyone else thrive and flourish in this space for many, many years to come and set the foundation for that. So that's all I have. I appreciate you sharing what you shared with us this evening. Once again, everybody, we want to thank you for sharing your time with us this evening. It's always an honor be able to share information and be able to listen in on what Miss Lynette has in store with this illustrious project. Have a blessed evening, and we will see you next time.
Good night, everybody.